prioritize this when you are building the pipeline, because top games make around 60 playables a month, which is insane. And I know the top games are spending way more money than pretty much half of our subscribers, but still, try to build the pipeline that allows you to create at least 5 playables a month. That's a good start.
It's 4 a.m. and we're rolling the dice. Matej drops knowledge made of gold and ice. Felix with ads making those coins rise. Jack up designs, worlds chasing the sky. We're the 2.5 gamers, the midnight crew. Talking UA adverts and game design too. Matej, Felix, Shaka bringing the insight. We're rocking those vibes till the early daylight. Matej, UA, master eyes on the prize. Tracking data through the cyberspace skies. Felix stacks dollars like a wizard in disguise. Jacob's crafted realms lift us to the highs. 2.5 gamers talking smack. Slow hockey stick, got your back. Ads are beautiful, they light the way. Click it fast, don't delay.
Hello everybody, welcome to this week's solo episode. And today I'm going to talk about how to build playable ads that actually convert. And I know you like diagrams and stuff, so I built pretty much this so you understand how I think about playable ads, but actually build a proper presentation for you guys, because this is quite important. And please stay with me until the very end. I'm going to actually build a playable ad while recording this episode. So what's the agenda? This is going to be a teaser from my upcoming and most anticipated Playable Bible, which is going to be released soon. Well, soon-ish. Well, it should be next week, but you never know. So I'm going to talk about the embracing the shift, the playable trends, templates, and how to build and what to build and test playables, and then how to iterate and scale. And again, as I said, build the playable during the recording. I'm going to also show you one quick case study because while we're here in 2026, playables are the shit that you need to run outside of Facebook, Google, and TikTok. So it's mandatory. If you don't have playables, you can't scale. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time. Okay, jokes aside. So why is this really important and why are we talking about this? It's pretty much very, very obvious. There's so many different case studies, and I have some. There are others, like you can see here, with Unity Playworks testing tool that was able to cut playable testing costs by 60%. You need to kind of think about this. In 2026 and even in 2025, when all these kind of AppLovin rise started, we need to think outside of Facebook, Google, and TikTok, and we need to add SDK networks into the mix. And when you do that, playables are default. Unfortunately or fortunately, you can't do anything about it. Also, playables are gonna open new inventories and also increase the conversion rates. Obviously, these days when you are, as a player, watching an ad on AppLovin, Unity, or ironSource, or wherever, you're watching a 60-second ad, well, because it converts. And then afterwards, you are presented by a playable where you spend another 30 to 60 seconds. Well, I know it might be annoying, but this actually converts, because if you're kind of spending more time in the creative unit, video plus playable, you're more likely to actually convert. So think about this. And also think about building a playable, but in terms of most probably like building a system. And what I mean by this is, if you are building playables and you're starting with like SDK networks, if you build only one playable, that's not going to be enough. So think about it in the way I'm building a playable and then immediately thinking about iterations. So you build first playable, but then you create 3 or 4 iterations on top of it, because, well, you already built the base one, which took you 2 or 3 weeks, or 4, depends on who you work with. But then at the same time, you kind of iterate with like endless possibilities. So what are the actual trends these days? Well, I was always talking about how playables should always represent the game and the gameplay. Interesting of the events. Anyway, so you should definitely combine the videos with playables as a playable end card. That's the actual shit that is working really well right now. But also use playable as a standalone ad unit. It still kind of converts well and brings stable performance. Think about it in a way that you need to stay or make players stay in the playable for 60 seconds. Because the thing is, there is a high correlation between the duration of the playable and actual success or like the better performance. So think when you're building a playable, think about it in a way that you need to be able to present players like playable with a 5 to 10 clicks. And, it doesn't really need to represent the gameplay. I mean, obviously, there were the times where we were talking about how it should be one seamless experience. So whatever they see in the video, they should be kind of experiencing in the video, in the playable. I don't think that's the case anymore. But I mean, I would start there and then expand to other playable concepts. So that's one side of the coin, and the other one is pretty much building playables from templates that are available out there, which is super easy thing to do, and that should be also one part of the whole playable equation. And then we have different games and genres, and then there are different playable concepts that are definitely working well. So 4X is resources. We are seeing king shot playables all the time, tower defenses, and even some pixel flow adaptations of the different playables. For example, for merge games, we see a lot of fruit merge or mini games in the playables, and also sorting stuff. And even here, we see for Whiteout Survival, even they're using, for example, 3x3 puzzles. So again, it can be anything that you think about in terms of the playables, and this is actually trending. So before you actually start, so you're always checking the trends, but you should always think about the emotion and the connection to the playable has to your game and kind of align on that experience and expectation flow as well. So again, you most probably should try to adapt the playable or be as close as your gameplay mechanic. But then you see 4X games or even puzzle games I'm going to show you later, they're using anything that converts, anything that scales, and it's working quite well. So, try a bit of both. So when I'm talking about the actual templates, there are templates that are working better and worse. There's so many different, so many different mechanics that you can actually pick from. Again, it needs to be engaging and intuitive. It should, as soon as players land into the playable template, it needs to be quite evident that they know what they're doing. And there are different templates that work better for different games, obviously. I know I showed you Whiteout Survival and their 3x3 puzzle, but most probably the 3x3 puzzle is going to work a little bit better for casual games. Then we have, let's say, a fighting game. I'm pretty sure we can start with 3x3 puzzle, but if we go for choosing a character, that would most probably work a little bit better. So try to find templates that are a little better fit for the game and the genre that you're looking for to build the playable at. But also, since the playable template is really easy to make, you can go wild. And more playables is always better. So how to actually build one? So what is the anatomy of the successful playable ad, which is optimized for UA performance? Again, this is like I would say the base unit. Again, as I'm having here, it should be a seamless user experience from video to playable, which doesn't matter anymore, but this is the baseline. Quickly hook the player, show him or her the tutorial, very intuitive instructions, let them play the core loop, play around with these 5-7 clicks, and then present a strong call to action afterwards. This is very important. Again, build in mind or have in mind that you need to build the playable for 10 clicks. What does it mean? It needs to be really emotion-based, and you need to hook the player right at the very beginning and still motivate the player to stay within the playable for 10 clicks, which is not easy, because then after 5 clicks, if he or she gets bored, well, then you lost. Think about it in this way. And then from here, you build for diversity. Templates, fake ads, mini games, whatever else. But this, let's call it the tutorial or the game core loop playable. This should be the baseline always, and then you expand from there. Right? You should always show only the gameplay. Well, unfortunately, this is not true anymore, but it was true a couple of years ago when minigames didn't really work, but we didn't see so many fake ads / minigames in the videos anyway. So now, it doesn't matter really. So again, think about it, diverse portfolio of UA playables. It's very similar to UA channel diversification. In here, always different playable concept is going to bring a different player persona or audience. And you most probably want to have diverse portfolio of the users afterwards. So building a playable, it's actually easier said than done. Because when I talk to different companies, they always think, let's just take tutorial from the game and then just wrap it into HTML5. Well, it works on paper, but it doesn't really work in reality. Every ad network and every channel has very different requirements. And also, this is very important. The playable ad needs to be under 2 or 5 megabytes, depends on the network. You can't always wrap your high quality, high production value game into 5 megabytes of playable. It's always going to look way worse. But I mean, there are still things that you can polish, obviously, but you can't really put your 50 megabyte background into a playable and think, oh, this is going to work. Well, not really. You need to compress all the assets, and that's why it's going to take some time to really, let's call it polish, or just have a production ready playable and kind of reality check what you expect and what you can get for a playable. There's also there's a lot of technical requirements. Again, it's really different from one ad network to another. Think about it when you're building a playable, because that's going to change your mind and how you actually build it. And then when you have a playable, how do you actually test it? So I built this playable testing flow, which again looks really intimidating, but it's not, and it gets better. So this whole testing starts with selecting the best performing video before integrating the playable. So we have 5 different videos. Then we pick the video winner. And then with the iterative approach, we select obviously the most effective video and then combine it with different playables that we created. Then from this, let's call it the first phase, we pick the best performing combination, which is the video plus playable winner, and then use that one as a control group for the next phase of testing. And then we go and rinse and repeat. This structure supports kind of data-driven decisions, and also, look at the best performing video concept plus, best performing combination of video and playable with the highest ROAS and the pretty much IPM and the engagement metrics. Pretty much it, right? And then you go from the beginning. Then when you have a new video winner, then you, again, rinse and repeat. It looks way worse than it actually is in the reality. But, surprise, surprise, since the AppLovin is the top channel for most of the games I manage, the testing structure is a little bit simplified. I mean, the whole logic is pretty much the same, because you still need to have a combination of videos and playables, but they're creative sets, which helps with testing. And for AppLovin, you add new creatives and new creative sets. The algorithm gives it 5% traffic from the start, which then gets a boost. And if it performs well, then it starts to get more and more traffic. If it doesn't, then these playables or video playable combinations are going to die anyway. You have video and then a few different playables on the right, and then we can test it against each other. Very much simplified. A simplified structure for testing playables. So again, as I mentioned at the very beginning, think about building playables as a system or a workflow. You start with one and then you iterate that one to eternity, pretty much. You can always iterate with different pace, more or less enemies, difficulty, rewards, different things like building different buildings. Depends on what your game is all about. Different skins, themes, you can really think about it as like iterating a video pretty much. First 3 seconds, change that onboarding, change the call to action. But obviously, improve based on the real performance data. I know. It's really obvious, but people still forget about this. Again, very important, small tweaks, and then you can change the whole performance of the playable. Very easy. Well, and then prioritize this when you are kind of building the pipeline, because top games make around 60 playables a month, which is insane. And I know the top games are spending way more money than pretty much half of our subscribers, but still, try to build the pipeline that allows you to create at least like 5 playables a month. That's a good start. If you can't really go about that, make this a habit just to create 1 or 2 and be consistent with that. Because there's not, I think, worse than create 1 or 2 playables and then nothing but in like next 6 months. Build this muscle and do those reps. It's really hard, but it's going to be very rewarding for your campaign performance. And I mean, you can use all the AI tools and no-code tools, which you can leverage the AI for scripts, variants, and even asset generation, obviously, or use no-code builders, aka Playable Maker, for playable prototypes. But no AI can build a playable from scratch and wrap it around the actual ad network requirements. So you can build a playable, let's say, concept with AI, but you still need to export and prepare it for all the ad networks, which are, again, as I said, have very different requirements. So think about it. No AI can do this yet, but we're getting there. So don't fall for it. No AI can build an actual playable for you yet. So then, as I said, you need to establish a monthly cadence, which is, again, really hard, but is really rewarding. How can you do it? Well, you always check on a weekly or monthly basis trending mechanics. Trending mechanics or trending games. That's why you have all the different games, and I can show you. For example, we have pretty much Royal Kingdom, using so many different concepts. We have here, which is pretty much like a boat, whatever, and then combination with the actual match 3 mechanic. Then we have some other playables, which is a block blast playable. Again, not really super gameplay oriented, but again, working well. It's really diverse. We have, what do we have here? It looks like a gates mechanic from Last War, or anything which is a little bit more like fighting oriented. This is not pretty much in the game that much, right? So you always try to check what's working. Here's another block blast playable. And we have then a tower defense playable. Interesting. So, and this is just like the last 30 days. So new creatives only, Royal Kingdom from Sensor Tower. Thank you very much, Sensor Tower, for supporting. See? So you can always check this. Then we also have match villains, which are doing very interesting stuff, and we can see it here. Again, as I mentioned, pixel flow at the very beginning. Why do you need to do this? Oh wait, it's actually a game that is scaling quite rapidly these days, and why not to adapt these game mechanics and use it in the playables that we have as a combination with our gameplay and an actual game that is scaling like crazy, which then you can kind of anticipate this can work well because people love this mechanic. So this is how you can easily use it, or just check these mechanics in games and turn them into playables. So easy, right? I mean, not really, but at least you know what you can do. So then we have the case study. So we have this game where we ran a lot of static images, which really worked well. And then we wanted to add AppLovin into the mix, but we didn't have playables. So we were thinking, okay, so what should we do now? Well, how about taking the best performing static image and turn it into 3x3 puzzle? We saw the 3x3 puzzle trend working really well in August. I think it was for Hobby Whittle Defender. It was working well for Whiteout Survival. It was working for Evony. So it was working for so many different games. There was like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try it out and see if we can make this work for our game as well. And guess what? It was working really well. So 5x the spend and pretty much turn this into absolutely huge profit generating campaign on AppLovin iOS. So one quick and easy playable, which is a playable template as well, that I mentioned at the very beginning, that can really turn the ship around in the actual campaigns on AppLovin. Okay. Questions, please put them into the comments, because now you're gonna shit your pants. No, jokes aside. So how should we think about creating a playable? So I went to playablemaker.com, so you can also join if you want. Use a unicorn code and you can get 20% discount. But anyway, you can sign up in the show notes on the link. But let's go an easy way. Let's just go here and then create a template. So I'm gonna build, so there's like so many different templates, whatever, sushi merge, video carousel, slots, wheels, upgrades, merge, game hooks, sorting, block blast, IQ, big puzzles. There's like 150 templates, whatever. So match 3 and upgrade. Obviously there are some unicorns right there. Here, interactive options, which is taken from the Tile Survive, best performing. So, okay, but whatever. So I have a fighting game. So I want to go and have like a character selection, which is easy. And I know this can work well. Let's see the volume here. So, I mean, obviously this absolutely doesn't look like anything I want to see. This is not really the character, but here we have different characters and scenes, and we can play around with text, buttons, circles, whatever. So all of this is obviously customizable. So let's say I want to customize the button. I go here, asset catalog. Here we can do whatever else, change the text if we want. Let's say we can pick this one, then change the actual font. Good button. To move this here. So everything is pretty much customizable, right? So, but I just want to go into template editor and then open the project, or just go here. Just for time being, let's just load my previous project. So, okay. I guess I said fighting game, but here. See? This looks a little bit better, right? So, let's try to use this again. So, we can change the character. I want a different image. I obviously want else. Okay, let's just use this girl. We can select, perfect. Let's just go, we can move this. Here we change the button to what was here. Case its button is different. I want you easy. You text. Button is this one, great, but we need to change also this, perfect. But also pointer is different, so we use a different pointer, this one, perfect. Oh, wait a second. I need to change the background. Okay, background image. This is the background I want. Perfect. See, it's actually looking a little bit better. So now we also need to change the actual button on the right hand side, which I think it generates. This is the right one. Perfect. This is the left one. Awesome. Let's just go and then change this for the left. So see, it's actually pretty easy to, let's say, let's see here. Left one is maybe a little bit different, but we can change this as we want. Animate this. So what do I have here? Choose your hero. Perfect. So choose your hero. Text is here. Choose your hero. Awesome. I want this. I think this is a little bit different. Let's move it slightly down. These characters could be a little bit bigger. We can, yeah, I think this is fine. Okay, so this is the third. Well, this is the first character, second character. Let's just also, let's build it whole again from scratch. So here we have the image. There's the stage. Perfect. Let's also change the character right here, and the image. We go and change this one for this. Okay, perfect. Let's do this one again, a little bit bigger. Looks great. Okay, animated text. So let's try choose your hero again, and it's left. It's white. Put a little bit down. Perfect. Then we do buttons and change the buttons again from right. Here's the right one. Great. Let's change the left button. So you can see, you can even generate assets with AI or use the generated assets that you have here. It's all in the actual catalog afterwards. And then, I mean, this one is not really exactly the same as the left one, but it serves the purpose here. Let's do button. Different. I want this, and then I want to change. I want you to create bigger. I mean, most probably this is too big. Yes. Yeah, no, it's actually not as big, but I want you button should be a little bit bigger here. Perfect. I can make this one a little bit smaller, and here. Choose your hero. Okay, I need to change the pointer for this. Great. And we should be good to go. Perfect. Looks like we have, looks like we have the App Store URL here, Google Play URL here. First scene, second scene, third scene, choose your hero. Amazing. What do we need to do now? And actually export the playable. You see, compress assets, because it's 11.8 megabytes, which is way bigger than we should be having. So all these are too much. So we need to hit compress because Playable Maker does it for you. Maybe we need to do it a few times, but no, it should be fine. Should be good. Okay, perfect. Because the stage is big, the characters are also big. Okay, so we need to compress one more time, I guess. Continue. And we need to compress these. Yes, let's try to compress it again. Because it needs to be less than 5 megabytes. Okay, so we can, after compressing this, we can build the playable and then go from there. Easy as that. And then we just wait until the whole playable is ready. So here we go. You can stop sharing now. And oh, here we go. The playable is already done. We can share the preview and download the playable ads for different ad networks. So easy as that. So pretty much, if you have any comments, any questions, please share them under the video, and be sure to check out the Playable Bible when it comes out. If you want, also sign up for the Playable Maker, and see you next time. Bye bye.